welcome along to episode 17 of Off the Leash. We go again, and the winners keep on coming. And we landed a double last week. Tony Bullen joins us. We're among the winners again, Tony.
Yeah, yours did the job as expected. Mine was a bit more heart in mouth, but winners are winners, Dave, whether they're a bit fortunate or they run riot. You get paid the same money at the same prices.
Absolutely. Sunningdale and Tracy Sydney doing the business last weekend for us. Hopefully we can dig out a couple more gems and we'll bring the best bets of the week. We're here every Wednesday. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And thank you to everyone for your messages. Glad to hear that everyone is getting stuck in and following the tips. Now, last weekend, we had the semi-finals of the Ladbrokes Kent St Leger, and the 3 Steps to Victory kicks off one of our favourite competitions of the year, a unique one, a tri-distance event at Sheffield. Heats last week were over 480 metres. Semi-finals this weekend, 500 metres, and then the final next week, 660 metres. And we'll go in chronological order because the 3 Steps comes on Sunday afternoon, and the Kent St Leger final is Sunday evening. So we'll start at Sheffield and we'll take in a few of the first round heats. But before we do, Tony, a real unique one, bit of a head scratcher sometimes as well, this one, because you get a blend of 4-bend and 6-bend dogs. You used to see 1 or 2 dogs entered maybe just to have a touch in the first couple of rounds, but a lot of stayers in this year.
Yeah, sometimes you can end up with a lopsided final where if the stayer qualifies, they're normally a warm order because they're running against the non-stayers. But this year's event, I must say, really had strength in depth. And I think the stamina-laden types are coming to the fore because they're equally effective over the 4-bend distances. But it's always a unique event, real good fun. I've always think they should tinker with it sometimes, not necessarily have it in chronological order like 480, 500. Draw lots, have the first round over 6 bends, maybe just mix it up. Could be interesting.
Yep, certainly scope for, I think, more events like this anyway. I know we see the odd dual distance event every now and again, but big competitions, mix it up a bit. I like it. Right, we'll start with Heat 1 then. And Heat 1 produced the fastest winner of the day on Sunday as well. And this was absolutely brilliant from Queen Georgia in trap 3, beat Magical Rubble in 4, Untold Tacker in 6. Now, the time it was 27.27 from the white jacket runner, just 2 spots off the track record. This was some go, Tony, heading to Sheffield without a trial.
Yeah, she rode an early bump as well, so probably would have done the clock had not encountered that early bump. But when she sees daylight, Queen Georgia, she really does open up, and no surprise to see the clock so quick. I was a little bit surprised initially because it was first look round and the bump, but she can really run when everything clicks into place. Sheffield can be crowd city, but when you're in front, it's a beautiful place to be, and Queen Georgia certainly enjoyed her trip to Sheffield.
Yeah, let's assist up to the champion that is Queen Joni as well. And you saw her after the drop, absolutely powering. Her connections fancy that she'll stay strongly. So she's going to be a big player, and she was the fastest of the heat winners. Right, we will now jump to Heat 4. And this was probably the most thrilling finish and the thrilling win of any of the heat winners here, because we saw the Queen Mother Memorial Cup winner over the 660 at Sheffield, Savannah Heros, who finished runner-up in the Grand Prix, drop it back in trip. This was the 480 leg, of course, in the first round. Left it late, but he came through in really good fashion here to win. He's in the red jacket. Bramble Tango in trap 6, and Claire Keith Remy, your other qualifier. Finalist last year in trap 2, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, Savannah Heros, this was a decent enough heat because there wasn't a great deal of natural early speed in there, and he had a good position on the rails. It looked like Bramble Tango, the Gym Crack finalist, was going to finally poke his head in front after stealing an early advantage down the back straight, but he did run very wide off that last bend. And again, when you've got a strong running type on your case, Savannah Heros kicked in and managed to get there where it mattered. And going forward, he's going to get stronger in the event, you would expect.
Yeah, I've just had slight reservations about him because he's a classy stayer, but he can sometimes just hit a flat spot in the middle of his 6-bend races, which would obviously count against him over 4 bends. But he's come powering through there, as expected, powering after the line as well. And yeah, as Tony mentioned, he's going to be a big player. The further he goes, the better he will be. Right, we move to Heat 5. And Miami Bullet here did the business in trap 3. Good style. Farney's Willie in trap 4, obviously the Grand Prix winner, I thought stayed on well as well. Keep an eye on that one after the line. Really proud to the drop trap 4. And Raisbury Katie in trap 2. Now, I was pleased to see this one. This is my price-wise selection in the Racing Post. 3rd in the maiden derby at Toaster, and is shaped as if his future's going to lie over 6 bends. And this was a really powerful performance, wasn't it?
It was. I like the run. I mean, Raisbury Katie did us a turn. We made her the best bet the previous weekend, a couple of weekends ago, and she did the business. She led, but Miami Bullet, I really liked the way, the attitude that he showed. He loomed large going into the 3rd bend and strong salt. And also, all credit to Farney's Willie. Again, you could forgive him for being tapped for serious early pace and going out, but he ran well in a couple of prep races for this event. And the Grand Prix victor, he really does stay on well. But that was a good run from both 1st and 2nd, because the time was there and there was a long way back to the 3rd, who's held every chance, Dave.
Yep. Okay, right. We'll move to the final heat as well then, which featured the anti-post favourite here, New Destiny. However, it was to be a former Greyhound Derby quarter-finalist in Ball Sports Gift, now locally trained, in trap 2, who bounced out and made all. She qualified in trap 3, New Destiny. Other qualifier, former St Leger finalist Milridge Tannick in trap 6. But no nonsense here from Ball Sports Gift. Really smart off the front.
Yeah, Connections have got to be delighted. I think even the New Destiny, I know it was beaten at 4-7, but you could have forgiven these two for being ring rusty. They've been off the card, Dave. So the fact that they've sort of produced this run off their bed suggests that there's going to be more to come. They're blowing away the cobwebs, but all credit to Ball Sports Gift. He was dogged and gutsy out in front and sustained that strong gallop. New Destiny, she's very fast. Give her a solo trial, she'd go as fast as any bitch in the country. The problem is her track craft can let her down a little bit, but both 1st and 2nd are going to strip a hell of a lot fitter come Sunday.
Right, well, let's talk about Sunday then, because as I mentioned, 480 last week, 500 metres this week, so an extra 20 metres run to the corner. Obviously a little bit more demanding for the dogs, and we'll take in the first semi-final then. This will be the 357 on Sunday at Sheffield, and Queen Georgia goes in trap 4 here. She was, of course, as I mentioned, fastest of the heat winners, but we've got Miami Bullet in there as well. Noel's Milano, another heat winner in trap 3. How do you see it, Tony?
Yeah, very. I mean, these 3 semi-finals are very, very good. It's only the first 2 to qualify, so the margin of error is very minimal. But as much as Queen Georgia was impressive and will excel over the extra distance, I was equally impressed with Miami Bullet. And I just think that Paul Young's likely race charge might be the answer to this race. Admittedly, flanked by a pacing Raisbury Katie and the up-and-coming Knowles Milano, but I just favour 2 here, Miami Bullet.
Yeah, I thought this was really tricky. I mean, I couldn't get away from Queen Georgia just on the clock, and I thought she went to the drop well. She rode that bump and still put the time on the board. So she was my pick, but it was a very tricky race. A tentative selection, I think, there from me for Queen Georgia. Right, we'll move on then. 417 semi-final number 2. Ball Sports Gift on the inside here. Havana Top Note in 2. New Destiny in 3. Savannah Heros in 4, Acom Irene in 5, and Bramble Tango in 6. And when I looked at this race, Tony, I just thought, wow, like there's a lot of speed on here. And New Destiny, who still is the anti-post favourite, and we'll get onto the market there, you know, she's going to have to just tread carefully here into the turn, because I can't see her leading. You know, she might go around in a posse, and I think she can come through and score. But, you know, any mistake at the boxes in, she's going to be on the back foot.
Yeah, this is again another what a semi-final this is. I mean, Acom Irene, I couldn't have her stay in the 6th bend. So if she gets to the final, I do probably fear for her in the actual final over the 660. But she contested the laurels at Perry Bar. She's got some foot, but I like Havana Top Note. If you saw the heats last week, Havana Top Note flew past Acom Irene like she was standing still. And Rabin Liz McNair is solid. He's a solid dog. He's not flashy on the clock. He's solid over all distances. He's Havana Top Note. And I thought he was the answer. I know New Destiny's very quick, but she can crowd herself up. She's a little bit... The track craft can let her down. And Sheffield, you want track craft, because you could be sitting in behind and suffering. Havana Top Note will run through a brick wall. And I think he can make another final, Dave.
Yeah, short straights and long swooping bends at Sheffield. Sometimes Racing Room can certainly be at a premium. I'll be with New Destiny, but again, a really, really tricky race. If you can find the winner of these three semi-finals, you're doing very, very well. We'll move on to the third semi then, the 4:33 on Sunday. We've got a finalist from last year, Claire Keith Remy, the Hove Raider, Farney's Willie, the Grand Prix champion, Lightfoot Clark and Milwish Tannick, former St Leger finalists. More of a stamina-laden race than speed in here, Tony?
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, Claire Keith Remy, you ignore him at your peril. He's one of those dogs that's capable of raising the bar at any stage. He's been a grand servant of connections. I like Farney's Willie. I mean, if you watch the race when Farney's Willie and Golden Palace met on the 5th of May over the 500 metres, nothing was finishing better than Farney's Willie. And I think Richard Wales's charge, I mean, he must be delighted with this dog that he's taken charge of, getting a right tune out of him. One-on-one care and attention. He's clearly bringing out the best in Farney's Willie. I think he's the play here, Farney's Willie. 6 is devoid. I think 4's a little bit hit and miss. I think 5 could turn handy. And if he's on the premises, he's got to be finishing better than everyone.
Yeah, Grant, I think overlooked given the name on the race card, but Richard and his team will not care one jot. So we wish them well. I'm going to go with Golden Palace. I thought could front off on the inside, but yeah, they were the two runners for me. Maybe a 2-5 forecast there if you wanted to get involved. Reverse that up. Right, that is the three-step semi-finals, or those are the semi-finals. Let's have a look at the outright market. And I wrote the price-wise piece in the Racing Post. And New Destiny always felt like a vulnerable favourite, and she's the same price she is now than she was when there was 24 dogs in. 36 dogs in. Now heading the market at 4-1. Queen Georgia has come in a little bit to 5s. Savannah Heros at 6s. Top Note at 7s. I'm still surprised to see Miami Bullet as big as 12-1. Another heat winner, Ball Sports Gift at 16s. Akamara in 16, then 20 bar. Did you have much of a view on the outright market?
Yeah, Farney's Willie. If he gets to the final, he's in his element over the sixpence. I think he's in the lesser of the 3 semi-finals, in my opinion, and he's got a great chance of making the first 2. If he's in the final over 6pence, game on, Dave. At 25s, I think he is, around that mark. That's a big price for the stayer.
Yeah, certainly an each way play, isn't he, Farney's Willie? The one I liked as well. They would be the two for me, Farney's Willie and Miami Bullet. But the Grand Prix champion certainly appeals at the prices, given that, dare I say, it has landed in the slightly weaker of the semi-finals. Right, that is the 3 steps, but it's not all the Category 1 action on Sunday, because on Sunday evening, there's £10,000 up for grabs. They go round twice. It's the Ladbrokes Kent St Leger down at Crayford, 714 metres. The Premier Greyhound Racing Golden Jacket trip. Remember, you'll be able to watch all the action live on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service on Sky Sports Racing behind the red button. Right, we will start with the semi-finals from last weekend, because 12 has become 6. And the first 3 went through here. Kunoff Crow, absolutely brilliant on the inside here. Bounced out and made all from trap 1. 44.88, Dazzle Rolex in 6. Ballymac Taylor in 4. They were the big 3, and the big 3 all went through, Tony.
Yeah, absolute demolition job in the first round and a demolition job in the semi-finals. I mean, she put 2 dogs, class dogs, in Dazzle Rolex and Ballymac Taylor, made them look normal. One thing with Kuna Crow, and probably people would probably laugh, if Kuna Crow got off the front, she'd repel these over a stiff 8 bends, in my opinion. You watch her, when she gets on the bunny, she's fast and very fast. The problem I think she's got in this final, A, she's in trap 5. B, Baywatch Bullet dipped under the 23-second barrier over for the first circuit. Now, that denies her the luxury of leading. And as good as Kuna Crow is, when you see her form where she has to come from just off the pace, she's not as impressive. She's still capable, but not as impressive. And I think the whole complexion of the race changes for me, Dave. I think 6 has got the greatest of makeups as the sole wide, and the Golden Jacket finalist looks the one to be with.
Slow down, we're still going over the first semi. You're talking about the final, what's going to happen in the second semi-final. So that was Kunoff Crow. As Tony's mentioned, Baywatch Bullet was brilliant in the second semi-final as well. Not a lot between them on the clock here, 44.88 and 44.96, which I thought was a little bit surprising. I'm not a big clock watcher anyway. Droopy's Flotilla in 5, Long Acres Porto in 3 were your other qualifiers. But as expected, as the market suggested, was a short price here, was picked up by Dazzle Rolex in the first round, and there was no Dazzle Rolex lurking in here, Tony, and she was away and gone for Belinda Green, who of course won this event last year with the recently retired Low Pressure.
Yeah, and again, she was guaranteed to lead, Dave, and I think she's guaranteed to lead Ballymac Taylor and Long Acres Porto. So she controls the race on the first circuit for me. This is as far as she wants and probably needs a little bit of traffic in behind if she's to hold on. But if the track is running quick like it was last couple of weekends, she's a big player, but I just think that she's going to be vulnerable to a finisher. I mean, Ballymac Taylor, disappointed for me. I mean, didn't really quicken up at any stage of the race, but again, has got a good draw on the inside, and this crowd pleaser, she will be finishing off. But I just like the make-up for the 6th of Dazzle Rolex, Dave.
Right, well, that was the second semi-final. Let's have a look at the draw then. 7:56 on Sunday evening. Tony's already covered most parts of it. The fact that we've got 5 railers and Dazzle Rolex out wide in trap 6. Now, I saw the draw and I felt a little bit sorry for Kunoff Crow, because I thought, well, it didn't work out for her in the golden jacket and she showed up well and she crashed out. Now, she's already won a big prize. She won the Grand Prix last year, but I think she probably deserves one round Crayford. And I thought, well, if she gets a draw inside Baywatch Bullet, maybe if she gets 1 or 2 and Baywatch Bullet ends up stranded out wide, she's going to be quite hard to beat it because she's going to get off the front. Well, the Greyhound gods were against her here because she's ended up widest of all 5 railers out in trap 5, which I'm going to be with trap 6 on the draw. And it sounds like from what you've said, Tony, you're going to be out with Dazzle Rolex as well.
Yeah, 100%. Just on the makeup, I mean, he was firmly put in his place by Cooler Crow last weekend, but this is the beauty of Graham racing and the sport, Dave. Different makeup, different draws, different day, different result, in my opinion.
And 2 votes for the stripes there. Dazzle Rolex to time it right, perhaps take it up on the second circuit there and land another big prize down at Crayford. Right, it's the all-important moment then. And you still have the honour, despite both our best bets last week winning. You had the honour last week, so you'll get to go again here. But Sunningdale and Tracy Sydney both won for us here on Off the Leash, and hopefully we can produce the goods again. Tony Bullen, anywhere this week for the best bet? Where are we off to?
Yeah, I like to mix it up. I'm going to Monmore on Saturday evening, Dave. The 8:38. They had 2 heats of a competition over the standard 480 metre distance, and I like Cooler Valley Mercy for Angela Harrison. Wasn't the quickest on the night, but that was her first look round, and I think she's a bit of a forgotten bitch, you know. She was runner-up in the Puppy Cup at Romford last year, and like everyone was waxing lyrical how she's going to be something really special. And I just think she's gone a little bit, I don't like using the word under the radar, but I think she's sort of the forgotten bitch of late. And I think she can just start to come to the fore with the summer, the nice sun on their back. And I think she's the one to beat in the final at Monmore. I think the local can make the price. Swift Maria, we've done 28.14, very impressive. But Cooler Valley Mercy, I think they'll be begging for mercy if she traps on terms.
Right, well, I'm going to head to Crayford on Sunday, not our feature race, the Ladbrokes Kent St Leger final, or the Golden Vase as well, actually, which is or the Kent Vase, should I say, is on the card as well. Instead, I'm going to go for the Puppy final. And Sunningdale is a quirky sort, did the business for us last week. And I'm going to go for another quirky sort here. Very, very impressed with Time to Talk in the heats last week. A draw down the middle, I don't think will affect this runner here. And Ricky Holloway's charge was electric down the far side. I think can go around in front and prove too good in the Puppy final, the 6:44 at Crayford on Sunday. This has been Off the Leash. Next week, join us because we'll be tackling the 6:60 final of the 3 Steps to Victory. Looking forward to that. The stayers will probably come to the fore there. Thank you, Tony, for your time and expertise as ever. And thank you guys for watching as well. And of course, do remember to gamble responsibly. And we'll see you next time.